Hello everyone, in this video we'll go over the Book C, Unit 1 Vocabulary Words numbers 1 through 30. Let's get started. Our first word is arena. Arena is a noun, and an arena is a stage, ring, or other closed area where shows or sports events are held. So if you look at the pictures here, this is called the arena. The sports teams can play in the middle part here, and the people are sitting in the chairs and watching them. This building is what we call the arena. Let's look at the sentence. The fighters have entered the arena and the fans are cheering wildly. And another word for arena, maybe you've heard this word, is stadium. Our next word is awkward. Awkward is an adjective, and it is when something that is done in a strange or embarrassing way. So let's look at the examples first. My brother is an awkward dancer. Or, I feel awkward when I have to speak in front of many people. So awkward is a feeling that people have, especially when you have to do something that you think is embarrassing or strange. So let's say someone asks you to dance, but you are really bad at dancing or you don't like to dance, then maybe your face might look like this, and maybe you might do a really awkward dance, a dance that looks very strange or different. Our next word is carnival. Carnival is a noun, and a carnival is a fair that travels from place to place and offers rides, games, and shows. The example says, I couldn't wait to play games and eat cotton candy at the carnival. So a carnival looks like this. Maybe this reminds you of places like Everland, but the difference is that carnivals can travel. So they can pick up all of the rides and all of the tents, and they can go to a new city or a new place so that everyone can go to the carnival. And carnivals have many fun rides, such as this Ferris wheel or other rides like these. They also have many games where you can win toys and other things. Our next word is company. And company is another way to say business. We had business as our vocabulary word before. Company is a business that works to make money. For example, our company hired many new workers this year. Or, this company only sells clothes. So again, company is just another way that you can say a business. Here are some examples of companies. I'm sure you know this one. I can say Apple is a company, or Starbucks is a company, or Subway and YouTube, BMW, they are all companies. They make things for people to buy. Do you know any other companies? Our next word is contagious. Contagious is an adjective, and it means able to be spread from person to person. For example, coronavirus is a contagious disease. And another way to say contagious is infectious or transmittable. And contagious just means that if one person is sick, then they can give that same sickness to a different person. So when something is contagious, it usually starts with one, and then that person can make maybe 3 people sick, and then those 3 people can each make 3 more people sick, and what happens is at the end, there are many sick people. So when something is contagious, it can be very bad for a large group of people because many people can become sick. Our next word is familiar. Familiar is an adjective, and it means known by many people. For example, the audience sang along with the familiar song. And another way to say familiar is famous or well-known. So when something is familiar, it means that when you look at it, you feel like you know it. So these 2 people here are looking at the girl in the middle, and they're saying you look familiar. So they're not exactly sure why, but when they look at her, they feel like maybe they already know who this person is. Maybe they already met her. So again, something that is familiar is something that you know. When you look at it, you feel like you know what it is. And people can be familiar, things can be familiar, even places can be familiar. Did you ever go to a place and feel like you have already been to that place before? Then you can say, this place is very familiar. Did we come here before? Our next word is goofy. Goofy is an adjective and it is informal. That means that we usually use it when we are speaking instead of writing. Someone who is goofy, they are a little bit silly or foolish. For example, the children were acting very goofy after eating too much sugar. So you can imagine someone who's goofy is silly and foolish, so they are often doing very silly things or making some funny faces like this, or maybe walking or dancing in a funny way. Then you can say they are being goofy. Our next word is hockey. Hockey is a noun and it's a game played on ice by two teams. Each person wears skates and carries a long stick. For example, the game of hockey is very popular in Canada and in other northern countries. So this is the game hockey. The players, they wear skates and they are playing the game on ice. And they have these long sticks and their goal is to hit the ball into this very, very tiny goal here. So this is hockey. Have you ever played or seen a hockey game before? Our next word is illusion. Illusion is a noun and an illusion is something you see or hear that is not real. Your senses are being tricked somehow. Remember, you have 5 senses. You have your hearing, your smell, your sight, your taste, and your touch. But when there is an illusion, those senses are being tricked somehow. The example says, the magician created the illusion that he was sawing a woman in half. Magicians often make illusions to trick people into thinking that they are really seeing magic happen. But there's no real magic, it's just a trick. It's an illusion. So let's look at this picture here. This picture is an illusion because there's 2 animals that you can see when you're looking at it. So which animal do you see? Do you see a duck or do you see a rabbit? If you want to see the rabbit, you can imagine this is the eye of the rabbit here. This is the head of the rabbit and the neck is here. And these are the 2 ears of the rabbit. But some people don't see a rabbit. Some people see a duck or a bird. So if you want to see the bird, then you can imagine here is the beak. Here is the beak of the bird. And then here is the head. And here is the eye of the bird. So when you first looked at this picture, what did you see first? Did you see the bird or did you see the rabbit? Another fun illusion is this one here with the ball going around this shape. It looks like the ball shouldn't be able to go in all of these directions, but it can. So that is what we call the illusion. It's tricking your eyes. Another word is irritate. Irritate is a verb and it means to anger or annoy. So you're making somebody angry or you are annoying someone. The example says, it irritates me when you tap your fingers on the table. So let's look at the pictures here. It looks like this man is very angry, probably because of his computer. Maybe his computer's not working or it's too slow. So he feels very irritated. I can say the man is irritated by his computer. Or the slow computer is irritating the man. Here too, I can say the baby is irritating the tired mom. It looks like mom just wants to sleep, but the baby keeps bothering mom. So mom will probably feel irritated. Is there something that always makes you feel irritated? Our next word is knobby. Knobby is an adjective and it means covered with or having lumps. So it's lumpy and not smooth. For example, the old man had kind eyes and a knobby nose. So again, knobby means not smooth and having lumps. So when you look at the nose of this old man, you can see the nose is not very smooth. There's a lot of bumps on it and it comes out to the sides like this. So I can say he has a knobby nose. We can also use knobby to describe someone's knees. If the knees come out a lot like this, it looks like a giant lump on your knees. So we can say she has knobby knees. They're not smooth, they are lumpy. Our next word is magnificent. Magnificent is an adjective and it means very grand in size or splendid in beauty, amazing or wonderful. So I can use magnificent both for something that's very huge. I can say, wow, this castle is magnificent. Or I can use it to talk about how beautiful it is. Let's look at the example. The princess lived in a magnificent palace. So we can use this word the same way that we would use the word great or amazing, fantastic, or wonderful. Magnificent just means amazing, but a little bit more, like very, very amazing. Then I can use this word magnificent. And of course, the opposite of magnificent would be modest or plain. Our next word is muscular. Muscular is an adjective and it means having muscles that are large or strong. For example, people who play tennis have muscular arms. So we did the word muscle previously. Remember, your muscles help your bones move. But muscular is an adjective. We use it to describe someone who has big muscles. So we can say this man is very muscular. He has very big muscles. Or there's an animal, the kangaroo. If you've ever seen a kangaroo, they are also very muscular animals. You can really see the muscles on their body. Just like this. Maybe you think kangaroos are cute, but I can see how muscular they are. I think I would be scared if I saw such a muscular kangaroo. Our next word is myth. Myth is a noun, and a myth is a traditional story that explains why something happens. It's unknown if they are true or not, but they are probably not true. Let's look at the example. An old Egyptian myth tells why the Nile River floods every year. So again, remember, a myth is a story that explains why something happens. Ancient people, they didn't understand many things about the world. So in order to help everyone understand things better, they would often make stories that help explain why things happen. For example, a long time ago, when sailors go out to sea in their boats, a lot of times those boats would crash into rocks or those boats would just drown into the water, they would sink. So people needed to try to understand why does this keep happening. That's when they made this myth. They made the story that in the water there are mermaids. And mermaids were the ghosts of women who maybe drowned in the water. So now they also want to make the ships and all the people on the ship sink. So they would call over the people on the ship and they would make them crash into rocks in the water. So that is the myth of mermaids. Did you ever hear that story before? The Greeks and Romans also had many myths about their gods. Maybe you've heard of Zeus and Poseidon or Dionysus. The ancient people used these gods to explain why things kept happening. Why was there sun in the sky, and then why did the sun go down and the moon come up? They didn't know about the universe and the planets, so they just had to make a story. They made a myth to help explain things. Do you know any famous myths? The last word for this video is ostrich. Ostrich is a noun, and an ostrich is a large, powerful African bird that can run very fast but cannot fly. It has 2 toes on each foot and no feathers on its long legs and neck. The example says, the ostrich is the fastest animal on 2 legs. So ostrich can run very fast, and actually some people ride on top of the ostrich and they have a race just like on a horse. This is what an ostrich looks like. I think it looks like a very funny bird because all the feathers are only here on the body and there's no feathers on the neck or legs. And remember, an ostrich cannot fly. It has these wings on its side, but it's just too big and heavy to fly. Penalty is a noun, and a penalty is a punishment given for breaking a law, rule, or agreement. The example says, the penalty for stealing is usually jail. Of course, if you steal something, then there are laws that say you can't do that, and if you do steal something, then you will be punished. Something will happen. Usually, you will go to jail. So the punishment, the thing that happens, is what we call the penalty. We also use this word a lot when people are playing sports. For example, soccer. The players are here, but together with the players, there's also this person who is the referee. And his job is to watch the players and make sure that they are not hurting each other or that they are not breaking the rules of the game. And if a player breaks the rules or hurts another player, then they will get a penalty card that looks like this. And when they get this red card, that means they have to get out of the game. They can't play in the game anymore. That is the penalty. Our next word is pimple. Pimple is a noun, and a pimple is a small, painful swelling of the skin that is filled with liquid. The example says, he had a large red pimple on his chin. And another way we can say pimple is the word blemish. So this is what a pimple looks like on your skin. You can see it's a little bit swollen, it's red, and in the very middle, there is a liquid inside. And some people will squeeze this liquid to make it come out. But usually people get these pimples on their faces when they become teenagers, or if they are very stressed, or if their skin is too dirty. That can cause some pimples like this to form on your skin. So if you don't want to get pimples, you should always wash your face very well. Number 18 is realize. Realize is a verb, and it means to understand in a clear way, or to suddenly understand. The example says, do you realize how hard it is to find a job? So when you say realize in this sentence, you are trying to say, do you understand or do you know that it's hard to find a job? So you can say, do you realize how hard it is to find a job? Maybe the person that you're talking to doesn't really understand that it's difficult. That's when you can use this word realize. Do you realize blank? The other example says, I just realized that it's past midnight. Maybe you were watching a very fun movie or playing a game and you didn't look at the clock, but then very suddenly you saw the clock and you realized it's already past midnight. So you suddenly understand or you suddenly know something. And when people realize something, they usually make a face, just like this one. That's kind of like saying like, oh, they realized something. The next word is report. Report is a noun and it is a statement or story about something that has happened. So it's basically what happened in the past. It's a story about a real thing that happened. That is a report. The example says, there was a report about the accident in the newspaper. So you can often find reports in newspapers or maybe on the TV. If you're watching the news, they will have a report. And the people's job here is to tell everyone who's watching about what is happening. So when they are telling what is happening, they are reporting. They report the news. They report what has happened. We can also see reports in newspapers like this. This is a very old newspaper from 1969, but it has a report about when man first went to the moon. So the report tells the story about what happened. Our next word is ripen. Ripen is a verb and it means to become or cause to become ripe or ready. For example, these tomatoes will ripen if you leave them in a paper bag for a couple of days. I'm sure you've heard the word ripe before. Something that is ripe looks like this. So before we can eat some fruit, sometimes we have to wait until the fruit is ripe. When it's ripe, that means it's ready to eat. But ripen is a verb. It's the action of this fruit becoming ready. So I can say, if you want your banana to ripen, don't put it in the refrigerator. Or, you need to wait until the banana ripens before you can eat it. Our next word is snicker. Snicker is a verb and it means to laugh in a mean and quiet way. For example, they were snickering because he had a sign on his back and didn't know. So when you snicker, usually you're trying to laugh very secretly or very quietly. Maybe you're laughing at something that is not very kind. For example, this person had some sign on his back. Someone put a paper on his back and he didn't know. So all of the people were snickering. But that's a very mean thing to do. If someone has something on their back, you should tell them, not laugh at them. So when someone is snickering, they are trying to laugh very quietly so that the other person doesn't know that they are laughing at them. But please be careful because it's not a very kind thing to do. So that is snicker. Our next word is suggest. Suggest is a verb and it means to tell someone what you think is a good idea to do. For example, my mother suggested several ways to calm the baby. Or, he suggested that we should go out for dinner. So when you suggest someone, you tell them what you think is a good idea to do. For example, let's say these two people are in a bookstore. And this woman here doesn't know what book she should get. But this woman suggests a book for her. She gives her this book and she says, oh, this is a good book. I suggest that you read it. So she's telling what she thinks is a good idea. Or let's say that you have all of this paper and you will throw it away. But maybe someone can suggest, they can tell you a different idea that is a good idea. So we can say, he suggested to recycle the paper instead of throwing it away. So again, when you suggest something, you are giving someone an idea. You are telling them what you think is a good idea. Our next word is suspicious. Suspicious is an adjective and it means causing questions or doubt. For example, the police questioned him about his suspicious activities. We usually use this word to talk about the action that someone is doing or the way that they look. So I can say, this man looks suspicious. He looks like he's going to do something bad or something strange. He's wearing this big coat and the hat that covers his face. He looks very suspicious. Do you think that he's going to do something bad? So when someone or something is suspicious, it makes other people have some questions or have some doubts about that person or that thing. A lot of times, if you are in an airport and there is just a bag in the middle of the airport without anyone near it, then the police will think that it is a very suspicious bag. Maybe there's something bad inside of the bag because there's no person near it. So it could be suspicious. It's a suspicious bag. Can you think of any other things that would be suspicious? Our next word is tease. Tease is a verb and it means to make fun of or try to annoy in a playful or cruel way. For example, he found a spider and teased his little sister with it. Or, don't tease him about his new haircut. And tease just means to make fun of or joke or ridicule. So teasing, of course, is not a kind thing to do. But many times, brothers will tease their sisters or sisters will tease their brothers, or sometimes friends just want to tell a joke, but the joke can be cruel and that can tease someone. When someone is getting teased, they often don't like it. For example, here this boy is teasing his friend by making a funny face, but how does his friend feel? He doesn't like it very much. Here too, maybe this boy is teasing the girl about her outfit. She is wearing a Snow White outfit and she really loves it, but maybe this boy is teasing her. Maybe he's saying some things that are not very kind. That is what we call teasing. This boy here is also teasing this girl. He is pulling her hair. Maybe he thinks that it is funny and playful, but she doesn't feel that way. So we can say the boy is teasing her by pulling her hair. Next word is thick. Thick is an adjective and it means large from one side of a surface to the other side, not thin. For example, these boots have thick soles. The soles are the bottom part of a boot. Sorry, I'm going to draw a very bad boot picture right now, but let's say this is the boot. Then this bottom part here is what we call the sole. Sometimes it can be thin, but sometimes it can be thick. Here are some other examples. I can say this book is thin, but this book is very thick. Also, do you like writing with a pencil that is thick, or do you prefer writing with a thin pencil? Our next word is threaten. Threaten is a verb and it means to say that you will harm or punish some person or group if something that you demand is not done. For example, the students did their work quietly after the teacher threatened to take away their points. So when you threaten someone, you say that you will do something that they don't like. Maybe you will hurt them or you will punish them, you will take something that they like. That is what we call threaten. So looking at the picture here, I can say the man threatened the woman with a knife. Maybe he wants her to give him her money or something else, so he threatened her. Also, we can use threaten a lot when we're talking about a child and his mom. Maybe the boy doesn't want to do his work, so the mom threatened him by saying that she will take away his TV or not let him play outside. We can say she threatened the boy. The next word is toad. A toad is a noun, and a toad is a small jumping animal with rough skin, long back legs, and no tail. It's similar to a frog. The example said, toads are born in the water, but they live on land. So toads and frogs look very similar, but they are different. So some of the differences include that frogs usually have this smooth and wet skin, but toads have this rough and dry skin. Also, frogs have very, very long legs, so they usually hop to move around. But a toad's legs are actually shorter, so instead of hopping, they just walk around more often. And a big difference is that toads are poisonous, while frogs are not. So if you ever see a toad, you shouldn't touch it. And if you do touch it, always wash your hands right away, since they have poison. Our next word is toward. Toward is a preposition and it means moving or facing in the direction of something. For example, we walked toward the center of town. So toward doesn't mean straight. It just means in the direction of something. So if here is the school and the children are going to the school, I can say the children walked toward the school. That doesn't mean they went just straight. Maybe they went like this. Either way, it's going to the school. So we can use this word toward. I can say the man ran toward the flag, or the girl walked toward the mountains. Again, toward doesn't mean straight, it just means in that direction. If someone asks me, "Oh, have you seen Miss Kaylee?" I can say, "Oh, she walked toward the bathroom. She walked in that direction, in that way." Our next word is wart. Wart is a noun and it is a small, hard, raised growth on the skin that is caused by a virus. And warts usually grow on people's hands or feet. The example says, warts can be removed by freezing them off your skin at a doctor's office. So this is what a wart looks like on someone's hands or on someone's feet. They're usually painful and people will usually choose to get them taken off of their skin. And the last word is weird. Weird is an adjective and it means strange or odd, puzzling or unusual. For example, his weird behavior has his parents worried. Weird also can mean odd or strange, and the opposite would be normal. So something that is weird looks very different or acts very different than normal things. So I can say this is a very weird drawing of a car because it has hands like a person instead of wheels. I can say it looks very weird. Also, some people think that a platypus is a weird animal because it has the head and the feet of a sea animal, but the body of a land animal with fur. So it looks very weird. Also, did you know that most of the weird looking animals live in the ocean, such as this one? And the deeper in the ocean that we go, usually the weirder that animals start looking to us.
And that's all for this video. We went over the Book C Unit 1 vocabulary words. Thanks for listening and see you next time. Bye!